Hello students, in this video we are going to learn about the figure of merit of a ballistic galvanometer, and then we will also discuss the experiment used to find the figure of merit of a BG. Hope you now know how a ballistic galvanometer works. This is the figure of a ballistic galvanometer which normally we use in the labs. Okay, so we cannot see what is inside that. Inside is something like this, because you have a suspension fiber, and through the fiber you have the mirror attached to it, and then it goes to the coil, which is wound on a non-conducting frame, and then you have the it kept in a, this is placed in a north-south magnetic field like that. Okay. So we discussed how it works. Now basically you can call this ballistic galvanometer as a moving coil galvanometer here, because the coil moves. Now what is the difference between this ballistic galvanometer and a normal galvanometer which use in the lab? So ballistic galvanometer is also used in labs, but then it is not the one which we normally use to find the presence of current, right? It is another galvanometer which you see in the lab. And there you can have, that is also moving coil galvanometer, but then it may not be there. They are also of two types. Like sometimes it can be this moving coil galvanometer can be using the suspension type, or it can be it can be of suspension type, or then it can be of pivoted type, that you have bottom pivoted, then you will be having a coil there, and then the needle coil is attached to a needle, and then that needle will vibrate. But this galvanometer, ballistic galvanometer, is also a moving coil galvanometer. Okay, but then the moving coil galvanometer can be called sometimes ballistic. So this moving coil galvanometer, commonly I can say they are all moving coil galvanometers, where everywhere this coil actually moves inside a magnetic field, and then that will result in the deflection. But for a moving coil galvanometer has to be BG. That means it has to produce oscillations, right? And charge flows for some time, then mirror will oscillate. So, and then normally the other galvanometer which we use in the lab, which is the normal one type, no figure, I have not kept any figure. Okay, no figure is put here, but then the one which you normally use in the lab, they are also moving coil, but they are not ballistic, or they are not ballistic. They are called as deadbeat galvanometers. Deadbeat galvanometers, by that we mean that it will produce a deflection, and then it will remain there. Like as long as the current passes through the galvanometer, you will get a deflected, the needle will get deflected, or the coil will get deflected, but it will remain stationary in a particular position, and it will not produce oscillation. And that is what we call as the deadbeat oscillation, which you have already learned in the transient currents, what deadbeat oscillation is. Okay, so that means moving coil galvanometer itself can be ballistic, or it can be a deadbeat galvanometer. So the one which we are focusing on this particular study is actually ballistic galvanometer. But then both of them, whether it is ballistic or deadbeat, the main basic principle of that is same. That is, both of them have moving coil moved in a get deflected because of the torque experienced by the coil in the magnetic field when current flows through it. Okay. Now this is a general idea which I was talking to you. Just to make you understand that moving coil galvanometer can be of two types. One can be deadbeat, which one is used in the case of the normal galvanometer, which we use in almost all the experiments, in electrical experiments, and then the BG, which we separately use for certain other cases. Okay, where you have oscillations. Okay, not like a deadbeat galvanometer. Okay, so with this basic understanding, I would like to express what the sensitivity of a moving coil galvanometer is. Okay, moving coil galvanometer, it can be generalized, it can be ballistic or deadbeat, whatever it be. There are certain terms which are associated with its sensitivity. So, you know that when a current flows through a galvanometer, basically it has to be sensitive, right? It has to be sensitive in the sense that even for a very small current flowing through that, the galvanometer has to make a movement, or it has to produce a torque. Then you can measure that. So how much sensitive is a galvanometer is basically the quality of a galvanometer, right? Even if a very small current flows through that, or if you apply a small voltage, very small voltage across the galvanometer, if it produces a deflection, then I can say that it is very sensitive, right? So I can generally or mention two terms which we use constantly to parameterize galvanometer working, whether it is whatever it be, it is a moving coil galvanometer. So current sensitivity is one thing, and the current sensitivity can be defined as the current required to produce a deflection of 1 millimeter on a scale kept 1 meter from the mirror. Now, before going into further details of that, let me explain to you basically how ballistic galvanometer is used in the experiment in our labs. You know that how it works and how the mirror deflects and how that all you know. And the mirror makes deflections, okay, that theta 1, theta 2, everything you know. But then how we measure the theta actually in the lab, you know that we have a mirror here, right? So, and a light source is used to radiate light on the mirror, okay? And then this mirror will obviously, and if you keep a scale arrangement in front of the mirror, if you keep a scale arrangement, what happens is that this mirror, the light which is actually falling on the mirror, then will be reflected on this scale, right? Now, if when the current flows through the coil, this mirror obviously will deflect. So when this mirror deflects, the image of the light or the image of the mirror which is falling on the reflection of the light which is falling on this mirror, and a reflection which is produced on the scale. Okay, you know that light falls on the mirror and this mirror will produce a reflection on the scale. And when the mirror moves, or when the mirror makes oscillations, obviously this reflection is also going to oscillate. That means first time when the mirror reflects in that way, you will get the light spot will move to here, and then the light spot will move here, then the light spot will move here, then again here. So according to the damping, the light reflection of the light on the scale will be first time here, then towards the left it will be here, then towards the right again it will be here, it will be here, then because of the damping it will get reduced in amplitude, right? The deflection value will be reduced. So what you measure or how you make the theta calculation from the BJ is that you keep a scale and telescope arrangement, and you will radiate the mirror with the light source, and then we find from the scale and telescope scale arrangement how much deflection it produces on the left and right. Okay, so the deflection is measured in terms of the movement the light beam makes on the scale. So now it's easy to tell what current sensitivity is. So current sensitivity is the current which has to flow through the coil to make a deflection on the scale which is of 1 millimeter only. So the deflection produced on the scale will be only 1 millimeter from the mean position when the scale is kept 1 meter from the mirror. Okay, so if I keep the scale 1 meter away from the mirror, okay, then if it produces a 1 millimeter deflection on the scale from the mean position, then at that time whatever current is flowing through that, okay, so that current is actually termed as the current sensitivity. Or I can say that the current required to produce a deflection of 1 millimeter on a scale which is kept 1 meter from the mirror. And likewise, I can also describe what voltage sensitivity is. And voltage sensitivity is same thing, but then instead of current, you have to tell voltage. What is the voltage which has to be applied across the galvanometer to produce a deflection of say 1 millimeter on a scale which is kept 1 meter from the mirror? So I hope you got what current sensitivity and voltage sensitivity of a galvanometer, a moving coil galvanometer, whatever it is, whether it is ballistic or whether it is a deadbeat galvanometer, whatever it be, these are the terms: current sensitivity and voltage sensitivity. Okay. And now we are going to focus on what is the figure of merit of a BG. And you know that in a ballistic galvanometer, we talk about charge, how much charge produces deflection. Okay, so we are going to talk about the figure of merit of a BG. Okay, and this figure of merit is actually called as the charge sensitivity. So when we talk about BG specifically, we normally talk about charges rather than voltage or current, right? So now, what is figure of merit? So before that, I'll write down the expression for the charge Q, which we have derived, that is T by 2 pi into C by capital N, number of turns, B magnetic flux density, A area of the coil, okay, then theta 1 times 1 plus lambda by 2, okay, theta 1 times 1 plus lambda by 2. This is the expression for the charge of the in ballistic galvanometer. Theta 1 is the first practically experienced throw. Lambda is the logarithmic decrement. Everything we have learned in the previous session. Okay, and here this parameter, that is K, I can represent the whole thing as normally it is represented using the letter K, capital K, this one. So I can write it as K theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. And this K is called as the figure of merit of a BG. Okay, it is called as the figure of merit. It is very important. Whenever we talk about BG, it is one important aspect we talk about it. That is a figure of merit, or I can say that the charge sensitivity. Now, how it can be figure of merit of the galvanometer, charge sensitivity, or I can also call it by another name. It is also called as ballistic reduction factor. All those things are the same. So it is also called as ballistic reduction factor. So it is ballistic reduction factor. Okay. Now our aim is to define what it is. Okay, as we have defined the current sensitivity and voltage sensitivity, it is the same. Because then how can I define the charge sensitivity as? It is the charge, okay, it is the charge that should circulate through the coil, that should flow, or whatever you can describe anyway, which should circulate in the coil, okay, to produce an undamped throw of 1 millimeter in the spot of light on the scale placed 1 meter from the mirror. Okay, so that is, I can say this theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. The whole thing is actually the undamped throw, right? This is theta 1 is the first damped throw. The whole thing theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2 is the undamped first throw. That is, I can write it as also as Q is equal to K into theta. So what I can write K as K is the charge required which has to flow through the coil to make an undamped throw of 1 millimeter, undamped throw of 1 millimeter on the spot of the light on the scale which is placed 1 meter from the mirror. Okay, so that is actually called as the charge sensitivity, or called as the figure of merit or ballistic reduction factor of the ballistic reduction factor. I hope you understood what figure of merit of a ballistic galvanometer means and what is it actually. Now we have one more thing to do here. We have to explain about, or we have to design an experiment where you can find out this figure of merit of a ballistic galvanometer. Okay, I'll show you a circuit diagram. Okay. This is the circuit diagram to find the experiment, or to design the experiment to find the current sensitivity or the figure of merit of the ballistic galvanometer. Okay, so you have the accumulator here which produces an EMF of say E. Okay, so this is the accumulator here, you have the key here, and it is connected to, in the primary circuit you can see you have P and Q. They are two resistors connected in series, and then you can see here a capacitor connected from the resistor C, and then this is actually a charging discharging key setup. That is, you can put this here and then you can charge, allow the capacitor to charge, this, because of this voltage here, current will be flowing through P and Q. There will be a voltage across the P, and the voltage across the P can be used to charge this capacitor. If you keep this open and this charge key is put on, then this will be closed, then capacitor can be charged, and in the next moment it will be suddenly allowed to charge for some short time, and then it will be removed. So that means capacitor will be totally charged, fully charged. Then you will put this key, that means it for the capacitor to allow to discharge. So that means this, at that time this circuit will be not in action. Okay, it will not be complete. So but this circuit will be complete. So current will be flowing through this here, or the charge will dissipate, get discharged through the. And remember, you have a 4-way key here, commutator, then you have a ballistic galvanometer connected. This commutator is used to change the current flow direction through the BG, one time in this direction, other time in the other way. Okay. So then when it discharges, it is actually discharging through this ballistic galvanometer because of the key arrangement here. So then when discharge, you can see that the first time when capacitor will get charged when it is connected because of the charge he put on, and then next moment it will be charging will be stopped and then it will be allowed to discharge. So at that time when charge flow through this BG will make a throw, right? And that throw can be measured. Okay. Now coming to the experiment, this was actually the design part of that, construction part of that. Now actually when you do the experiment, you normally what you do is you keep first time say P equal to, or P is a resistor, we will introduce 1000 ohm there, and Q will keep as around 9000 ohm, and for easiness we keep this P plus Q. For several set of experiments always we can change P and Q, but then P plus Q is always kept as around 10,000 ohm. Okay, and then what you do is you put first time you will put P 1000 and Q 9000. Then we allow the capacitor to get charged. Okay, it will be first time charged. Okay, then immediately it will be allowed to discharge through this discharge key. It will be allowed to discharge through this BG, and BG will notice its first throw as theta1. Okay, so if its first throw is theta1, then this mean value of the next time, okay, first throw is found out, that is theta1. Next time what you will do is you will change the value of P. I can change the value of P as say 2000 and keep Q as 8000. The only thing is that you keep P plus Q always 10,000. So in that way, next time I can make P as say 2000. Okay, and then Q can be kept as 8000, whatever it be. So next time in this case also you find the next first row theta 1. So you can get a set of P by theta 1, right? P by theta 1. Okay, here also you can calculate P by theta 1. Next time you will get another set of P by theta 1. Okay, and you can make all the P theta 1s calculated and you can take the mean value. Okay, now that you keep in mind, we calculate P theta 1's mean values. Conduct experiments several number of times changing P and Q, then P by theta 1 can be calculated. Okay. Now we'll come into the mathematics of that. You know that let C be the capacitance of the capacitor. Okay, C microfarad be the capacitance of the capacitor which we use in the circuit. Okay. Now I can say the charge on the capacitor. What is the charge on the capacitor? And you know that charge Q is equal to C times V, right? So capacitance value I know that is C. And now I have to find the voltage across the capacitor. And just see what is the voltage across the capacitor. Okay, I think I can put the figure there. Okay, so what is the voltage across the capacitor? Voltage across the capacitor is the voltage across P, right? And voltage across P is the current flowing through that P, then multiplied by P. Okay, so that is what is the current flowing through P? Current flowing through P is actually E is the voltage here, E divided by P plus Q. So current through current through P is actually the E divided by P plus Q. That is the total current flowing through P. And then that current we understood. That current multiplied by this P, that is the resistance value, will give the voltage across that. So this voltage is basically this times, okay, this times then the P. So I can write the charge on the capacitor as charge on capacitor as equal to C times V is voltage is the current, that is E divided by P plus Q into P. Okay, that is the charge on the capacitor. This much microcoulomb. This is in microfarad, so this much microcoulomb. Now you know that this charge on the capacitor will produce a throw. What is the throw? Theta 1. That is the observed throw. This charge on the capacitor will produce a throw of theta 1. Okay. And if this is the theta 1 throw it produces, then the undamped throw theta is what? That you also know. Theta is what? That is theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. Okay. And 1 plus lambda by 2 or 1 by 2 lambda. Now you see if we know that K is the sensitivity, K is the charge ballistic reduction factor or the figure of merit. What does that mean? This charge, what is that? Charge required to produce unit deflection. Okay, charge required to produce unit deflection. So that means the total actual deflection is what? Actual deflection is this much, theta 1. And the K is what? The charge required to produce unit deflection. So the total charge here was what? K is the charge required to produce unit deflection. Actual deflection was actually theta 1. Okay, so that means this is the total charge there on the capacitor. Okay, theta 1 is the throw. Okay, and to make a unit deflection, K is the charge required. So if theta 1 is the deflection seen here, I can say that K times theta 1 is the total charge of the total charge passing through the VG, right? Or total charge of the capacitor. Okay, that is K theta 1. So then I say K theta 1. sorry, not K theta 1, this is the K theta, I forgot. Theta 1 is the observed throw. Actually, undamped throw is the actual, it should have shown the undamped throw, but then undamped throw was not possible because of the damping. So, if theta is the undamped throw, it's a, or which has to take place actually, which would have actually take place if there was no damping. If theta is the undamped throw, then I can say that the total charge on the capacitor or the total charge passing through the BG is the charge sensitivity multiplied by the total throw theta. And that is actually K times theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. Okay. Now this is the charge flowing through BG, and you already have found out the charge through on the capacitor, right? Or the charge passing through the BG or the charge on the capacitor. What is the charge on the capacitor? This one, EP into C divided by P plus Q. Now both of them are same. This is the charge because of the theta throw. This is the total charge in the capacitor or passing through the BG, and this should be same as EP divided by P plus Q into C. Both of them should be the same. This is also charge. This is also charge on the capacitor. Okay. And then from that I can find out K, as K is what? K is E into P into C divided by P plus Q. Then I can K, that is divided by theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. This much microcoulomb. Okay. And microcoulomb per, basically this will be microcoulomb per division, and the EC so this is the equation for the K. Now you say you know everything. Can you find out the figure of merit? You know, you use the particular accumulator of the whose EMF you know. You introduce P, you know what P is. That means we from the experiment find out P by theta 1, right? So this P by theta 1 you already know. So I can change and write, that is, I can write EC divided by P plus Q and P by theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. Okay. So P by theta 1 you understood. P plus Q you know. You always keep it as 10,000. So P plus Q is known. C is the capacitance of the capacitor used. E is the voltage of the cell. P by theta 1 is the one which you find using the experiment. And then another thing which you have not found till now is lambda. And what is lambda? That you have learned in the previous correction thing. As in the correction of the damping, we derived this lambda as equal to 1 by 10 in the log theta 1 divided by theta 11 to the base e, right? So you can easily find out what lambda 1 is. Log to the base e can be converted into log to the base 10 as 1 by 10 into 2.303 log to the base 10 of theta 1 by theta 11. So theta 1 by, you can find the, as you are finding the first row, you can also find the 11th row. Okay. Using that you can find lambda. You can put lambda here. Every other parameters you know. You can find the current sensitivity, charge sensitivity, or the figure of merit of the coil of the ballistic galvanometer. So this is how you calculate, or you design and then find out experimentally what is the charge sensitivity or the figure of merit of the ballistic galvanometer. I hope you understood. If you have any queries, you can put it in the comment box. Thank you very much.